All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Detroit Lions in today's video. We're talking about draft stuff primarily in the first round. I've got a couple of mock drafts that I want to bring to your attention here. As we know, the Detroit Lions, well, first off, free agency is very soon, but the Lions have the 28th overall pick in this year's class. Just in some recent news that kind of might pertain to the Detroit Lions, is Myles Garrett apparently is actually done with the Cleveland Browns. So, yeah, I'm looking at some of these guys available at pick number 29 and take it with a grain of salt. This is like my first year doing a full deep dive of NFL mock drafts and just, let alone like outside of the top 10 pretty much. And some of the guys I've been seeing draft or mock to the Detroit Lions, I don't think it will be available at pick number 29. A good example would be Shamar Stewart, who, kind of speaking of Myles Garrett, looks like he might be the next Myles Garrett. And I think he's going to go personally probably in the top 10, but I keep seeing him mocked at 29 to Detroit, but I don't think it's going to be possible. We're going to learn a lot more about this Detroit Lions team in free agency, big time moves like, are they going to go out there and get a Myles Garrett? Are they going to go out there and sign a Marcus Davenport? What are they going to do for that edge position? And then, the biggest question mark I have with this team, and you'll see it in just a second, is Carlton Davis. Is Carlton Davis coming back to Detroit? He hasn't played over 13 games in multiple years. And obviously last year's first round draft pick was Terrion Arnold. They drafted Ennis Rakestraw Jr. right kind of after that. But unfortunately, we didn't really see Ennis play too much football last season. So this will make sense in just 1 second. But free agency in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, will tell us a decent bit about this Detroit Lions squad. Now I'm going to bring up here a PFF mock draft. This is like 10 days old, so keep that in mind. The NFL draft combine is going on right now. Right now it's going on for this weekend. So all this stuff will change. And if you guys saw like Mel Kiper's newest mock draft, a lot of moving parts. So guys fall, guys rise. We're still not even 2 months away. We're 2 months away from the NFL draft. So a lot of stuff's going to change. But folks, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily Detroit Lions content. I know I haven't been doing daily, but it's February, and I guess we're just kind of trying to regather, recharge for this upcoming NFL season. So this is from, let's just see here, Josh Leiskowitz, and in the first round at pick number 28, he has guys selecting Siobhan Revel out of East Carolina University. Now, this is kind of one of the reasons I wanted to make this video, because for me, the biggest concern with the Detroit Lions is the edge opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. But if they don't retain Carlton Davis and they don't go out there and sign, there's a bunch of cornerbacks out there in free agency. So if they don't re-sign Carlton Davis, but they go out there and they get some player in between Amik Robertson and Carlton Davis as far as free agent acquisitions last year. I know Carlton Davis was traded, but I'm saying like contract wise, if they don't go out there and get at least like a cornerback number 2, and I think a good example of a cornerback number 2 would be Byron Murphy Jr., cornerback 1 for the Minnesota Vikings, who's hitting free agency. But Siobhan is insane. Now, I've got his stats right here. In just 15 career starts at East Carolina University, he put up 12 pass breakups, 3 picks, while allowing a 42.2% completion rate and a 59.7 passer rating. So he's at 28 right now. I think that's probably where he would end up getting drafted. And the main reason would be, I think it says it on this screen here, he tore his ACL in September. So he was done for pretty much all of 2024. But as it says here, he forced incompletions on 26% of his targets, ranking 9th in college football. And a lot of people are actually comparing him to Quinyon Mitchell. And that's a whole nother thing too, is I'll say this. This is what people are saying. If Siobhan did not tear his ACL this past season, he would be a unanimous top 10 pick. All right. So my biggest concern for the Lions is the edge rusher. And there are so many edges in this year's draft. There are going to be so many in the first round. Then even a little bit deeper, you can kind of see Josiah Stewart there mocked to the Lions at pick number 60 in the second round. But I'm just saying, they could get their actual long-term cornerback number 1 right here in this draft at pick number 28 in Siobhan Revel. And I don't need to rag on Terrion Arnold at all, but I don't think we necessarily saw like superstar traits from him in his rookie season, which is perfectly fine. But you would see that from Siobhan, at least in my opinion. Then moving a little bit down to pick number 60, This is why it's so interesting to me, right? So you see the huge gap, round 2, pick 60, and then it goes all the way from round 4, 131. I don't know too much about Ja Joyner, who they have you mocked in round 4, pick 131, edge rusher out of Minnesota. Doesn't seem too great. And this is just kind of my whole ethos is the first 2 picks for the Detroit Lions in this year's draft class will probably be somewhat of cornerback and edge. But if they re-sign Carlton Davis or go out there and get a different cornerback, or if they go out there and actually trade for Myles Garrett in the next 2 months, a lot of this is going to change. So if Siobhan is not available at pick number 28, I'm still pushing an edge rusher for this Lions team. But in theory, they could get right here in the second round at pick number 16, 60, Josiah Stewart, who's an edge rusher out of Michigan. Now, his Senior Bowl measurements, as you can see here, just under 6'1", 248. All right. He was really good last year at Michigan. They had such a good defensive line. Their defensive line was insane. 48% win rush on true pass sets led the nation last year. And then even 2 years ago, he was kind of rotating in and out with the championship 2023 Michigan Wolverine team. And obviously, we're talking about the Detroit Lions. He went to Michigan. So it kind of just makes sense right there. But this guy gets kind of compared to like more overshooting compared to Von Miller. Von Miller is about 250, but he's 6'3". So he's a little bit under 6'1". So there's a 2-inch plus height gap there. But he's been compared to Von Miller quite a bit. My only thing is whoever is drafted in the first 2 rounds, whether it's an edge and an edge or a cornerback, edge, cornerback, doesn't matter. These 2 guys got to come in here ready to produce right out of the gate. That's what it's coming down to for this Detroit Lions team. And then if you're curious what the rest of this mock, we got Ja Joyner there. We got Dylan Fairchild, guard out of Georgia on the 6th round. And then a couple of nice, 7th rounders, Joey Hobert, and Teddy Buchanan out of Cal. So I wanted to show you guys that little mock draft there because the Lions are in such an interesting situation where I would not be surprised if they traded their first round pick. I think that's overshooting it a little bit more. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked. I would be surprised. But I also wouldn't count out a trade up to somewhere in the middle of the first round where you see guys like Mike Green out of Marshall. If a guy like Mike Green falls outside of the top 15, I wouldn't be surprised if Brad Holmes makes a phone call and goes out there and gets a hopeful star edge rusher that can produce day one. But like I said, all this draft stuff is kind of, it feels redundant as far as mocks go because guys just rise and they fall, and we're literally in the NFL Combine right now. So a lot of stuff's going to change after this weekend, but I wanted to get this out to you guys. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily, hopefully soon in March, daily Detroit Lions content as soon as we get more news. But that's it for me. Let me know your thoughts. Who would you want the Lions to select at pick number 28? Let me know down below. Thank you for watching. That's it for me.